Welcome back to another episode of the Mom Founders Table. And today we are kicking off a brand new series. You're going to join me for the next 3 weeks to talk all about wellness and health habits of successful entrepreneurs and how having these health habits actually fuels our success. So this week, we are talking all about movement. So if you know anything about me, you know that I am very, very pretty rigid with my movement and my exercise. It is something that I rarely miss, and very few times will you find me being still in general, but there is a good reason. So I was introduced to entrepreneurship actually through fitness. My first business ever was as a personal trainer, and that grew into us owning a gym and building everything that I have today from that place. So movement is my love language, you could say. I love exercise. I love all forms of exercise. And it is something that truly makes not just our health better, but our life better. So we're kicking this off by talking about movement. And here's why I'm doing this wellness series, because I know that for the majority of my clients, when you are busy running a business, it is so easy for the things for yourself to fall off. And it feels like we can tell ourselves that we will eventually come back to those things when we are less busy, when our calendar is less full, all of those things. And then what ends up happening is we don't, right? And we end up not feeling good, not sleeping well, sometimes suffering from some health related issues. It takes something almost bad happening for us to realize, oh, this needs to be a part of my routine. We also have a really hard time bridging the gap between the importance of our health and spending time in the gym and devoting time to our bodies when we feel like that's not necessarily moving the needle in our business. But as you'll learn today, it is a huge needle mover for your business. So let's get into it. First, we need to bridge that gap, right? Because at the end of the day, we are so obsessed with our businesses as entrepreneurs that realistically, because we love the work that we do, we could spend hours, days upon days working without any sort of break, right? We love what we do. We know that it is not only the impact that we're creating, but it is our lifeline. It is the way that we feed our families. And so again, our mind says, well, taking time away from my business to focus on something like working out is not the right move. But here's why it's actually critical for us as entrepreneurs to make sure that we have consistent physical activity. When we move our bodies, it creates endorphins, right? These endorphins do amazing things. They provide clarity, they reduce stress, and they help us to stay focused. Those three things in itself are like, okay, wrap it up. Episode's over. This is what I needed to hear, right? Because those three things are some of the most important things that we need for our business to succeed. If we're not clear on where we're going, how we're getting there, the way that we're communicating, if we are so stressed out that we can't function and that we're being reactive towards our team, reactive towards our family, we're withdrawing from our relationships, if we are not focused, if we're scattered, if we're spinning from thing to thing, we will find ourselves not just unfulfilled professionally, but unfulfilled as people, because none of those things feel good. When we feel unclear, when we feel super stressed, and when we feel scattered, we don't feel our best. So physical movement actually helps our brain operate better. It helps us feel obviously physically good, but it helps us feel mentally good. And when we feel good mentally, we are different people, right? So if you think about on some of your worst days when you didn't feel good mentally, how were you towards the people around you? Right? What were the thoughts that you were having in your own head? How were you spiraling? What were you thinking about burning the business down or all of these really intrusive and unhelpful, unproductive thoughts that we can have? Movement actually combats a lot of that. Movement actually, the act of moving and the effort really allows you to build a better relationship with yourself, which can create a sense of pride. It helps our confidence. And I think that's another key piece here in bridging this gap that we're bridging right now, because I'm like gonna fight for you to move your body every day, because when you feel good mentally and physically, and you have this energy of confidence and enthusiasm and happiness, you're going to attract people to you, right? Nobody wants to be around somebody that's like stressed out and frantic and like, it's just not fun to be around. And if you're in that place right now, it's okay. This is just like a call out to you of like, oh man, I have to do things differently. And if you're sitting here and you're like, I know I need to move, Kelsey, but the problem is my business is so busy that I don't even know where I would put it. I hear you, and we can fix that, right? This is one of the reasons why I have my free business audit. If you have not done my free business audit yet, it is miraculous. I completely assess your business, look at all the areas where you have growth potential, look at all the gaps and the inefficiencies, and literally just deliver that to you and say, hey, if you fix these things, like you will fucking kill it and not kill yourself in the process. And I do that for free. So we'll put that link in the show notes for you so you can book your business audit. Anyways, it is so important for you to feel confident, for you to be confident. And movement is a direct connection to be able to create that confidence. So I want you to understand that moving your body and physical activity is critical for you as an entrepreneur. It is also critical for you as a mom. Because again, we have this stored energy in our bodies. We are not supposed to be stagnant. We are not supposed to be sitting at a desk all day. We are not supposed to be in back-to-back meetings all day. And if you don't have a walking pad and a standing desk, highly recommend. You've seen me probably walking on some of these episodes. I typically will walk when I'm on client calls. I'm actually out of town right now recording this in Scottsdale, Arizona. And this little apartment has a standing desk. And I was like, only my walking pad was here. Anyways, there are so many different ways that you can move. If your barrier to movement is your schedule, we can fix it. Book a business audit. If your barrier to movement is really your mind, which is the same thing as your schedule because you're afraid to change it, you're afraid of what will happen if you pull back on certain efforts, if you take time away from the business, all of those things that are very real fears, I understand, completely understand. And there are solutions and ways for us to work through those things. But we first have to just understand the importance of movement. This isn't just about, especially as women, we grew up, right? Like seeing all of these different things. We've struggled with like how we see our bodies, and there's so much that goes into it. And I understand those things as a former competitor, right? So I was competing on stage where I was literally being judged on my body as a figure competitor. I've competed on platforms where I was being judged on how strong I was. So I get the physical component, and I get the fear around, being called back into certain extremes, if there's any of that there. But movement is medicine for your brain. And when you give your brain this medicine, you will perform better. You will be a better leader for your business. You will be an example of healthy movement for your children. There's just really no downsides to this, right? So there is a direct connection between movement and your productivity, right? Making time for movement isn't about some sort of indulgence that is only for certain people or when you get to a certain place in your business. It is truly a direct investment back into your business because of the way that you show up, the way that you lead, the focus that you have, the clarity that you have, the just your energy and the way that you communicate with people. Like, people that say mean things don't like themselves. Movement is a great way. Movement in your relationship with yourself and building that better relationship with yourself by treating yourself kindly and by treating your body well is a great way to feel better about yourself. So then you're treating the people around you better, right? So this is a direct investment back into your business. So if you can change your mindset around thinking that this, time on your calendar for a workout class would be better spent in a meeting when it comes to your business, and shift that into, when I'm working out, I'm investing directly into my business. When I'm working out, I'm creating clarity and creative ideas that can create revenue streams for my business. It's all about just shifting your perspective around the purpose. There's also the reality that you are a human outside your business. And so your business, yes, it is a time-consuming piece as CEOs who have teams and have a lot of things to do. But it is time-consuming. But in the same breath, like, we're supposed to be controlling that. We're supposed to be in charge of our schedules. And if we're not, and if that is preventing us from honoring the human side of us, that's a bigger problem that we have to address. The human side of you needs social connection. The human side of you needs fun and play. The human side of you needs time for your mental health. The human side of you needs time for your physical health. And this is why people spin, because they're like, how do I have time to fit all of these things? And it's really reprioritizing by understanding the importance of what we need and how it is directly connected to the things that we want. So if you want your business to continue to succeed, we're talking about sustainability. If you are sick all the time because you're not taking care of your health, you're not going to be able to run your business well. Right? And so we need to think about these things, and we need to open our minds and not be so narrow-minded and not be so short-sighted that we aren't seeing that putting these things on the back burner is going to eventually bite us in the ass. I've had multiple clients that have come to me who have had like either mental breakdowns, right? Panic attacks, things that have happened to them, their mental health. I've had clients that have come to me who have been in the hospital because the stress just overtook their body. So this is a very real thing. So I want you to think about today, like, what sort of movement can you incorporate? What does that look like? And what is a single step that you could take, right? Are there certain meetings that you could take while you're walking, right? I believe that like we can build and we can start small, right? And we can build upon and have building blocks. And so I'm not asking you necessarily to jump fully in, to clear your schedule out and to become a powerlifting competitor. What I am asking you to do is asking you to commit to moving your body every day, and preferably having that movement be not during business hours. If the only thing you can give me right now is walking while you're on a meeting, I'll take it. But there is a level of like commitment to that time for yourself that is also really important. So I want us to overcome this I don't have time barrier by committing to and asking ourselves the question of, how can I move? Anytime I'm dealing with an obstacle with a client that we're coming up against, I'll ask them to just shift their language around it. And we shift the language to how can I, right? Because how can I is productive. How can I is solution oriented. So if we ask the question, if I were to ask you, you and I are having a one-to-one conversation and I say, hey, How can you move every day? However you answer that, right? You're going to start coming up with solutions. Oh, I could get up earlier. Oh, I could go to bed earlier so that I could get up earlier so that I could move before my kids get up. I mean, if you guys think that I like getting up at 5 a.m. to work out, you're wrong, right? I don't love getting up at 5 a.m. to work out. But what I do love is I love the confidence that I have. I love the example that I'm showing my children. I love the health that I have that I'm able to hopefully live for a really long time. I love the way that I feel in my body. I love the pride, the sense of pride that I feel for showing up for myself. And so there are these things that really all snowball together into creating such power that we can be detached to. And it's interesting because we run these really successful businesses, but yet we feel like sometimes they're running us. And it's like, how do we take our power back? How do we shift ourselves back into that seat of feeling like we are the creators of our lives? We are the creators of our business. And I do believe that physical fitness is a big way for us to be able to do that. So I want you to answer the question of how can I move each day? And then write down whatever those answers are. And then I want you to actually commit to them. Sometimes we need accountability around this. One of the coolest things about my relationship with movement is I'm also married to somebody who has the same commitments. So there is this, we've talked about this unspoken, like we've never had a conversation about like one of us like stopping moving and the other one trying to, it's just never been there. It's just this unspoken energy of like, we expect each other to take care of our health because we respect each other. And I mean this in the most loving way possible, but I think again, in the short-sightedness of things, it's like, do you think it's fair to your partner for you to not take care of your physical well-being? Do you think that not taking care of your physical well-being and the results of that you're seeing mentally are fair to your partner? Because at the end of the day, if we're not moving, if we're not eating well, if we're not sleeping well, you're not going to be that pleasant to be around, right? So it's really just understanding the importance and overcoming this obstacle of I'll do it later, I'll do it when I'm less busy, all of those things, and saying this is something like we're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? But if we want to feel, if we make it our goal to feel and operate at our best every single day, then part of that is going to be taking care of our physical vessel. So let's overcome the obstacles that are in front of us. There is so many different ways to move at this point. I mean, even since I got into fitness, oh my gosh, 14 years ago, there's been so many changes. It is so accessible. There's free apps, there's YouTube. You can get one set of weights at home. Like there's classes, free classes out the wazoo, right? So you just need to, you have to do it. You have to do it and you have to create a habit. And you have to see that when you create that habit, you have to give yourself at least 30 days, if not 60 or 90, to see the direct result in your business. Because I guarantee if you start moving and you start feeling good and you start feeling confident, you're going to sell better. You're going to be more pleasant to be around. Like everything around you is going to get better. So I also want you to remember that like movement is such good stress relief. Stress is like energy stored in our body. And so a lot of times when I'm talking to clients and they're like really heightened, I'm like, all right, let's go outside. Like, let's move this out of us. Like, how do we actually in movement? And all my clients move in different ways, but that can be such a great way to actually move that energy out of your body so you're not spiraling. And so you can, again, think clearly and focus on solutions. So taking care of your body and staying active, having an active lifestyle is going to help you reduce your stress. It's going to help you be more clear in everything that you do. It's going to help deepen your relationships and your communication because your confidence is going to be there. And so there's no reason why you shouldn't, right? So if you want to sustain higher levels of productivity, if you want to continue to evolve and innovate in your business, you need to be moving every day. So if you are struggling with movement, again, because you're just like, I don't know where to fit it, I don't know where to start, just start somewhere. Your one action step that I want you to take away today is answering that question. Get a piece of paper, write down, how can I move every day, and start thinking about possible solutions. You might start thinking through, who do I need to support me, right? Let's say you want to go to exercise classes, and that means that your partner needs to get the kids dressed for school because you're going to be home, a little bit later. Or there's so many different things that are barriers in our mind that are usually logistical, but we make those logistical things, we're like, oh, well, I can't ask for that, or it's not the right time, or maybe in a different season. I want you to throw all that bullshit to the side. And I want you to take away from this, okay, I am important. My physical health is important. My wellness and my well-being is important. And when I honor those things, it makes me a better mother, a better leader, a better partner. And so I'm going to commit to physical movement, because when I move, everything around me gets better. And that commitment looks like this. That commitment looks like XYZ. That commitment looks like moving daily, and maybe it's walking, maybe it's 10 minutes. Start somewhere. Don't get so overwhelmed in the logistical stuff that you feel like you need your full plan right now. For me, when I started, it was just literally blocking out time blocks before I even knew what time blocking was, because this was the end of 2010 is when I started to, after I kind of shifted things around in my life and was rebuilding my life from rock bottom, I went into, really focusing on my mental health and, making sure that I was in a good place there. And that mental health was like, man, I feel like strong mentally. I want to turn this into like physical change. And that's what brought me to fitness, actually. And so I would sit down every week and I would put time blocks in my calendar when I was going to the gym. I had no idea what I was doing, guys. I was on these machines trying to figure them out. I'm sure people were probably looking at me. I didn't care. And so it's really just getting over all of these mental barriers that we have around what it needs to look like, how long it needs to be, all those things, and just first focusing on building the habit. If you previously had a health habit and it's fallen off because you're busy, then you'll have an idea of the type of movement that you like, but go ahead and experiment, try some new classes in your area. Sometimes we can fill that like social bucket. It's so nice to go to classes where it's like, oh my gosh, there's like nobody here that expects me to like be on and be like this CEO or be like this coach right now. I just get to be me. And so giving yourself the opportunity to do that is also one of the greatest parts about movement. So plan your business around your life, not your life around your business. I really want you to understand what that means, and like, what is the point of being an entrepreneur if we are capping our own freedom and flexibility? I hope that this has given you the kick in the ass that you needed today. That's what I'm here for. Again, if you are struggling with just time for yourself in general, if your business is so busy that you need to make a change in order to spend more time with your family or to have time for yourself, and you're tired of just like constantly problem solving and all the stress that your business is creating, please click the link in the show notes and do my free business audit. It will change your life. And if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. My email is open. My email inbox is open. My DMs are open to you. There's a million different ways that we can talk and chat and make sure that you're getting the solutions and the help that you need. I'm very excited about this wellness series. We obviously talked about movement today, and we are going to be talking about sleep, and then we are going to be talking about mental health. So today was all about physical health. This is a fully holistic wellness series. And so I'm going to give you guys some direct tactical tips that I've used to like improve my sleep, because I know that's a whole thing with stress and anxiety as business owners. And then obviously same goes for mental health and how I keep myself mentally healthy so that I can perform well, so that I can make sure and hold space for my clients and the solutions that we're creating there. So really excited to have this series with you guys. If you guys want me to talk about anything else specifically, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I am very, very appreciative of the feedback, of the shares, of everything that you guys do to continue growing the Mom Founders Table. As moms in business, we need that support. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening today, and we will talk next week.